place and corporate plays. We'll groove through it all in funky ways. So join us now, let's find our way. Listen to bits and pivots every single day. Ooh, get money, get paid.
All right, this is going to be part 2 with Val Walker. So just to recap, we in part 1 we got caught up in everything, and we talked about working in Evernote together and what that was like, and then we started talking about her transition from AE to CSM and like why she did that and how she's found it so far. And so this episode we talk more about kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly about being a CSM and how it differs from being an AE. We talk about like what types of AEs might make really good CSMs, and also if you're an AE now and you're interested in being a CSM, like how can you start preparing for that career change now? And then we also talk about just time management. Like when I knew her, she was she was engaged, she wasn't married yet, she didn't have any kids, and she was like we talk about her lifestyle a little bit in this, and now, she's married, she bought a new house. So that brings a whole lot of responsibility. And she has 2 kids under 6, and they're boys too. And like, if you have boys, it's just chaos, man. Like I have one and I call him Captain Chaos because when he comes home from school, it gets fucking loud and rowdy, man. So I wanted to hear, like, as a woman, where you more often than not, you kind of become like the default parent for like, hey, your kid's sick, someone has to pick them up. They have a dentist appointment, stuff like that. You become the default parent. And then you have to work full time, and then you have to like take care of yourself too. So like, how do you squeeze all that in without driving yourself insane? So I think that's a really important conversation to have, and we have it here in this episode. So enjoy my talk with Val Walker. So, like, what types of sales reps do you think would do good in customer success?
Yeah, I think the sales rep, because again, the personality piece is kind of just dependent on them, right? And not everybody wants to have the conversations and the relationships. But I think if you are in sales and you're constantly wondering next year, is that customer doing well? Are they going to renew? When I was talking to them, was I thinking about what they'll be doing with that product in a year and a half? Or am I talking to them only worrying about what they're going to be doing with that product for 3 months, to not make me look bad after I just sold the product, right? Like, obviously, if you sell it and you have no other information to give to them and they're just like left alone the first couple of weeks, the CSM, the rest of the team might be like, well, what did you do, So 3 months would be a little bit more of like a nest or a cushion for a sales rep to obviously care. But if they're caring about 6 months to a year later and like, okay, is this really a good fit for this customer? Are they going to be successful? Even though you're not saying it out loud, but if you're just internally thinking it, I think that might actually be a good indicator for a sales rep that they could actually have a decent, career as a CSM as well.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so customer centric, like thinking about the customer, hoping they do good, really looking out for their best interests.
Absolutely obsessed. And then I think also I found that, not every sales rep is the same when it comes to organization. And, they don't have to necessarily put in a lot of success planning type of notes or anything about, like what's going on. For them, I think it's more of like tactical, like, okay, we talked about A, B, and C today. We went over these, what do you call it? Like security policies, all that red tape that customers have to go through before the sale. So those are the things that they're focusing on. And maybe they have notes on that, but there's really no notes about the actual company itself and like what their plans are and what they've been using and things like that. And so you get into these accounts, you're like, where's your notes? And there's no notes. So if they are organized sales rep, that's also another indicator that they probably could.
Do you remember at Evernote, like the account managers, they would always be like, where's your notes? Like they would get so pissed at us and we were always like, man, fuck those people. And now you're like,
right.
Oh, no notes, man. This is
I know. It's tough though. When you get into an account and there's nothing, you're like, oh, come on, dude. You've been talking to them for 6 months to get the sale. You have nothing.
Yeah. So like what you're doing with the success planning though, you have to think more strategically than a sales rep would. You have to like think about the company's goals and objectives and their
Mhm.
KPIs and like align, we want you to adopt the platform in this way, but we also have to align to like your initiatives and what you have going on in the business. So it's like you're not just forcing it in there. Like in sales, it's kind of like you're forcing it in more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a good amount of like flexibility and bending. Like, hey, they're not going to use this, they're going to use their old thing. So, how do we integrate into that so that, we both can essentially win? So, a lot of
Yeah.
times I feel like a CSM is constantly reaching out to product managers and just different people to have someone come onto the call and let them know how our product can integrate in with something that they're not going to rip out. And
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. Like literally just like resource pulling all day long to find SMEs, to find those product managers that can say, hey, this is on our roadmap. We're definitely going to acknowledge that this is what you need. The CSM will make sure that she stays in touch with how we're moving forward with this. And then hopefully if it's within 6 months, it's a good look for you because you're like, all right, I made sure that this got on the roadmap or it made it to production, and now it's available for us to be able to utilize for your challenge that you have with A, B, and C. So yeah, it's great.
Hell yeah. I feel so bad for CSM sometimes when they have to like it seems like the CSM is always the one that has to break bad news to a client.
Oh,
Like even if it's not their fault, like just technically like a feature just went kaput one day and it totally screwed them up. Like the CSM is the person on the front lines that has to like communicate that and kind of like take some shit from the customer, it seems.
absolutely. I forgot to mention that on the cons. That is definitely one of the things, especially when it's the opposite of not getting that feature, pushed out within 6 months and it's 3 years. And granted, at that time you've given up and it's something huge for them. And you just have to keep on telling them, yeah, no updates or downtime, things like that. Anytime that a company is completely underwater with something and it's your fault or your company's fault, yeah, you're the front line.
Yeah. Well, how do you have like a lot of anxiety and stuff when you have to make those calls, or is it just kind of like, it's part of the job and I roll
No,
with
I
it?
think there's anxiety because I think that they and unfortunately vent to you, right? And not
Yeah.
everyone's the same. So some people are like, oh, this is not good, Val, or like I don't know, whatever they would say. And other people are like, I can't believe, and like they're just like kind of going off and it's like, is this professional still? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, the anxiety is absolutely there. I don't think there's many people when they have a boss that's looking at them to make sure that this product that they're managing is getting done right, that they're going to kind of have their butts on the line. So I don't think anybody takes it well when we can't deliver for them and then they have to, of course, shit rolls downhill.
Yeah, you're at the bottom of the hill sometimes. So do
Sometimes.
they end up like blaming you and like yelling at you and stuff?
I've had one guy, I think he was from the Northeast. He had to be. You can just tell from just
Oh,
like their
yeah, I forgot.
accent one, and then they're just tenacity,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, he was
Yeah.
just like, this is bullshit. Like, you better figure it out. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, there's not anything I can do. I couldn't even jump in and try to create some type of IT support here. But, you're the one tracking the ticket. So, of course, you should have the
Yeah.
response and the answers and the updates and all that. So, yeah, not too many people have yelled, but obviously disappointment.
That would be so hard for me because like if someone comes at me aggressively, like I get triggered right away and I just like return the energy, but like twice as much. So like, and it's happened at work before. And like I've had teammates on the call and they're just like, oh geez, like Chris is not going to talk to them anymore. And it's just like, I'm so embarrassing. It's like, I'm trying, but like,
Can I
once in a while,
remind you of
man.
mine of remembering what you said? Can I remind you? So
No, what was it?
yeah, we were obviously sitting next to each other at Evernote and, just trying to get a hold of the right person, the decision maker. And you're like, who signs the checks? Who there signs the checks? And you like yelled it. And we were all like,
oh no.
I'm sure they were haggling you on, finally the sale, which is another piece of sales that I don't care for because that is so drawn out, But yeah, another person that you kind of had on the hook, I'm sure, but they just weren't giving you the money.
That's on brand. Yeah, that's on brand. That tracks for sure. Oh my God. Dude.
Yep, I loved it.
That's funny.
I don't have that tenacity, so
I had fun there.
yeah,
I had
it
fun
was.
there.
Go ahead.
It was good. No, you go. It was
Yeah,
good.
I must say, I had such a good experience there. That was my first intro into
Yeah.
like a a San Francisco kind of techie,
Like a
like,
startup.
yeah, very, very like bougie. I mean, we had free lunch, the whole nine.
Stanford people all the time.
Yes, yes, it
That
was
killed me.
definitely interesting. I remember getting on that treadmill that you could type on, which I feel like now
Oh, yeah.
everybody has, but at that
Yeah.
time it was like, oh, cool, you can talk and and walk. So
Dude, the free lunch was the best part. And you would always get the plate for your husband and bring it home. And I was like, dude,
I
that is
love that you
awesome.
said that. I'm gonna remind him when I get off of this with you. Yes, I sure did. I take a
Oh, yeah, dude.
photo or send him the menu, and he'd be like, all right, let me get the blah blah blah. I'm like, must be nice.
I can barely get my wife to fix me a plate at a party where we're both at. And so like
Yep.
just you bringing it home, like that's awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, remember I was pregnant half of my tenure there too, so that was probably
Yeah.
another reason of it. But yes, that was a great benefit, by far my best.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so what's it like now, working full time
Mm-hmm.
and having two small kids? And like, how do you find that overwhelming ever? Because your oldest is 6, the
Mm-hmm.
other one is how old? Like
2.
3 or something?
He's 2.
2.
Yeah. So,
Right.
going back to pros and cons, I feel like that's kind of like, like the meat and potatoes of this conversation.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest pro, and it also has a little bit of a caveat that I work from home, but as a CSM, you are way more in control of your scheduling of meetings, which
Ah,
is A1 for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, there's customers that are like, hey, can we jump on a call? Or you might have 3 or 4 calls with that customer a week because they're just that high level, that strategic, that needy. And I'll
yeah.
talk about that in a second, being the con. But the pro is like, all right, we're going to have a weekly phone call or a bi weekly phone call at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. So guess what? I know that I can carve out my schedule and then I can routine my kids and everything else around that, right? And then of course you make sure
Cool.
that you can carve out picking them up so no one gets scheduled calls or I don't get scheduled calls at this time, or I don't get scheduled calls at that time. So that's the best part because I'm controlling my my time and flexibility.
Yeah.
On the other end of it, I guess when it comes down to you have these several phone calls a week and things like that, they can spill over. There's no, what would you say, more of like a what's the thing when they're on the Emmys, the sound that plays to get off the stage,
Oh yeah,
where
like
it's like,
playing them off. Yeah.
yeah, it's like our job is done here. Like we're at a standstill. You need your lawyers to accept this PO. There's not much more that this conversation can be until we move to the next step. As a sales rep, as a CSM, you might just be hanging on the phone for 3 hours as they talk through with the technical, guy on the line, how do we get A, B, and C to work? And it's just like,
Yeah.
so a lot of times calls spill over and that's out of your control, Obviously I could say, hey, I got to go pick up my son from school. But if we're, fighting to get this done by the end of the week and it's not happening within that 30-minute time frame that we scheduled, guess what? We're on a call for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that's just normal.
So at the end of the day, I was basically just an average sales rep. But when people see my resume, they're usually pretty impressed, and I get questions about how I was able to put a career like that together. And the reason is really simple. Early in my career, I formed a clear vision of where I wanted to take my sales career and what I needed to do to get there. And what I've realized over the past 4+ years of advising sales reps on career matters is that coming up with a goal and a plan isn't super intuitive for everyone. And for those people, I have a solution. So if you're a BDR who wants to become an enterprise AE, or if you're an AE who wants to become a VP, or if you're someone who just keeps picking the wrong jobs and the wrong companies over and over and over again, or really anyone who just needs to figure out what to do next in their careers, this course is for you specifically. It's called Elevate Your Sales Career, and it guides you through the steps and frameworks that I've developed over the past 4.5 years, working with dozens of sales reps to get really clear optics into what their ideal sales career looks like and how to get there. So check it out at my website, www.dankow.ski, and also look for a link in the video description.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Well, I always think it's interesting just because like a lot of times women as the default, like you become like the go-to parent for a
Hmm.
lot of stuff. And so it's like you're working full time, you got 2 young ones, and
Yep.
then maybe you're like the go-to parent that's like dentist appointment in the middle of the day,
Hmm.
pick up from school early because someone shit their pants and you don't have like a backup pair, like whatever. It's like just an added layer of like stuff to manage.
It is. I
So
am the go-to parent. I think it's just natural, nothing against my husband, but also it's a
yeah.
thing called mom scrolling. So you're just constantly thinking about the
Hmm.
dentist appointments and what's for dinner tonight
Huh.
and taking out the laundry and do we need to schedule a spring break trip? And so it's like in between calls, I flip over to my personal account and I'm doing daily life things in addition, signing
Yeah.
up for PTA meetings and stuff like that. So I think there's this multitasking for sure level that comes with maybe women, obviously, mothers and having full-time jobs. But I'm very grateful
Yeah.
and thankful that I have both a full-time job because I know that
Oh yeah.
when I got laid off after I
Ooh.
had my first child, and I was home for
Yeah.
10 months, and everybody was like, you know what? Enjoy the time. You'll find a job, which it took me exactly 10 months to get a job. And everyone was like,
Wow.
enjoy the time off. You wouldn't have had this if you had your normal 4 months of maternity leave, anyways. But I did realize one thing, and it's perfectly fine to be a stay-at-home mom or whatever you choose to do. I enjoyed that
Yeah.
intellectual stimulation and the routine
Yeah.
of having customers, if that sounds crazy. So I was very
Definitely.
excited to get back to being a CSM because remember, I left Evernote as an AE or a sales rep. And so I was like, I
Yeah.
want to come back as a CSM because I know that I want that type of customer. I don't want the
Yeah.
quotas and the pressure. I want the customer that's like, hey, Val, like, I need you for a very important piece of getting this product to work. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's yeah, that was unfortunate the way it went down at the end there. I think you and Amanda were both pregnant at that
Yes.
time.
Wild. And I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen, like, that company went through a whole bunch of chameleon morphings
Yeah.
and change. And yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely took a turn left. But it
Yeah.
was wild.
Well, and Kevin stayed the entire time. I hope he
Cockroach.
made like $1 million. I hope he made like $1 million off his, stocks or whatever in Evernote when they got acquired
Love the
because he
stock.
deserves
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, right. No, he was a cockroach. He stayed for forever, but he did finally get laid off about a year and a half
Oh.
ago. 2? No, a
Oh,
year and a
okay.
half ago.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I still keep in
Damn.
touch with him, but yes, he made it for
Nice.
quite a long time for sure.
Yeah, that was crazy. I still have my socks. I still
Oh
have
my
the Evernote
God.
socks. Do you
You know
remember
what
the
I have?
socks?
I have like 2 shirts. A backpack. Remember they were giving out swag like crazy at the beginning? I feel like that may have been
Yeah.
a red flag right there. That they were just like, please take all this extra stuff that we have nobody to give it
They had
to.
so much shit. It was a cabinet full of socks. It was like
Yes.
so many socks, and it's such a weird thing for like a tech company to have. Like,
Right.
we have socks and
everything.
journals and shit.
Well, we have socks too at our company, and they give them out at our
Oh,
revenue kickoff. But I feel like they had a lot of other
yeah,
things, so it was interesting. Yeah, crazy
random
times.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, okay. So your life, this is the last thing I want to talk about, but like your life is so busy. And one of the things I always admired about you is like you always seem to have a really full life outside of work. Like you were always leaving early to go to Pilates. You had your shrimp boil every year. You were coaching volleyball. You were going on cruises. I know you love cruises. My wife's a cruise person. We've been on 2 cruises since we had a kid. Do you bring your boys on cruises?
Oh, yes,
They have
absolutely.
childcare on the cruise.
Yes,
Yeah, childcare on the cruise is the money move.
absolutely. May I ask what
Yeah.
cruises you guys went on? Like what?
We went on Norwegian.
Oh,
We went on
well,
Norwegian.
you already started here.
Yeah, she wants to do a Disney cruise, but that's just like crazy.
I mean, it is. I think I would do a Disney cruise over going to Disney World, though, at least at the ages that they're at. But I've heard it's so buku expensive, the cruise. And yeah, I don't know if I could justify it, quite honestly.
No, it's nuts. I told her I'm not going on another cruise for like, it's 5 years or something. I want normal vacations for a
Oh
while.
man, that's actually a true thing too. But yeah, I admire you knowing all those, or remembering all those things. I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
even honestly think about it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, obviously your life has changed a lot. It's,
Hmm.
we keep hammering that. But like what do you do now to kind of, keep your sanity and not go nuts and still have like that full life outside of
Yeah.
work?
Routines are a big thing for me. Again, I think that's why the CSM life kind of syncs up because I have a little bit more of a control. But I will 100% attest, especially I think about COVID 2020. I was fully into Pilates and just kind of like body, mental and physical body health.
Yeah.
So those are the biggest things that I think help with my stress. And then the second one that I would say probably around the time that I, met you or left Evernote, I got into plants. And so I have
Oh
about
yeah.
250 house plants, which means inside of my house.
Oh shit.
And then I probably have another
Nice.
300 plants outside of my house on just a whole bunch of, shelves and stuff like that that I've done on my outside patio and things. But yes, I have plants every single place that
Oh
you can
yeah.
imagine in my house. And there's something about obviously taking care of them, but seeing them thrive because it is not easy to
Yeah.
keep plants alive. You think, oh, water them, that's it. Nope,
No.
sun conditions. In the summertime, the sun is beating down on them, and in the wintertime, it's not. So you have to transition them throughout
Mhm.
your. It's a joke. It's a joke, but I love it,
Yeah.
and that keeps me so much saner with that and the kids. So.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
No, I became a plant person in the last couple years. I don't have like no 200, 300 plants, but I have like four over here. I got one over there. I got a monstera over there that I
Yes.
brought back from the dead. And then I got a couple big ones in the TV room now because it is winter
Uh-huh.
and I got to put them in that room because they get more sun
Oh yeah.
outside. But like outside, I kill a lot of shit. I keep trying to plant vegetables and it's just like they come up and I get excited
Uh-huh.
and then they just die.
Yeah,
It's
they say you're
stubborn.
supposed to keep them obviously like full sunlight, but I think a lot of our sun doesn't allow for them to do as well as they should. Like we're in more of a, they need to be more of a temporal medium. So yeah. So what's your favorite like plant? Like you said, you have a monstera. What's your favorite one?
I like my Monstera a lot. It's like there's always new growth coming out of it. I have I think it's a parlor palm. It's like a big palm tree.
Hmm.
It kind of like a skinny palm tree.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I like that one a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bigger. It's like well, you can't even tell how tall that is, but it's tall now. I have a big snake plant too.
Okay. Yep.
That's like I've had it for a while. Like those are the ones I've had for like 3 years or
Those are hard
so,
to
which is
kill, but you can kill them.
yeah,
So.
yeah. Oh yeah, I've killed everything by now. So
Yes. Overwatering is
yeah,
definitely a death killer, so it's not impossible to do.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Is there is there anywhere where people should connect with you or anything like you wanted to promote or anything?
Oh my goodness. That's actually, thank you for giving me that intro. So I did actually just
Yeah.
start, well, I guess it's a sole proprietorship. It's not an LLC or incorporated, but I did start my own DBA, which is called Must Be Nice. And what I'm doing is I'm essentially starting off on Etsy right now where I'm selling. I put together these succulent arrangements. And so what I'm trying to do is kind of expand into like having succulent walls and things that you can essentially just be able to utilize. So what I'm going to say is right now, I'm personally using my own email address. I haven't created my own for my business. So it'd really just be reaching out to me at ZSAVAL86 at Gmail. But I will eventually have like the Etsy store and then a little bit more advertising. But right now, I just do it for like friends and family and things like that and get my
Oh yeah.
sales tax taken care of since I can, do that with the DBA.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna buy a succulent from you. Do you have like an Etsy link and I can put it
I don't
in the
yet.
link
I
to all this?
don't. So essentially,
Okay.
like I said, I will have probably something up next year because the holidays are a joke. But I will have
Right
something
on.
up next year. I've been putting together a lot of pieces so that I can have them available for some type of inventory, and I will let you know. I wish I had it done before Christmas. That would be nice, like desk
Mm,
plants and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be just essentially succulent living where you can have something in your house, easy to take care of.
oh
I
yeah.
don't know if you have succulents, but they're so much easier than houseplants.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I got a couple. I've killed some of those too though. So
They're hard. They're
yeah,
easy
I'm
to
home.
kill too. They're definitely not like foolproof, but they're a lot
Uh,
easier than houseplants for sure. So, but yeah,
oh
I'll
yeah.
keep everyone posted. My Instagram will probably be blooming with that as well once I have like that Etsy page up. So,
Right on. Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, like so much. Like the time it's 6:30 now, the kids and everything. I'm sure you got to get away and you're
Yeah.
probably exhausted from work. So I really, really appreciate this. I really like catching up with you too. And
Absolutely. I think this is so
yeah,
cool. I know that you are always just kind of trying new things. You're very innovative. You're very quick-witted. Like I definitely, like I said, I follow you too clearly, and I see you and your little family doing things. So I appreciate you thinking of me. And I hope that this is, a positive thing, because I've actually had a couple of like coworkers from Oracle ask me, "Hey Val, how
mhm,
did you make the jump over to CSM?" So
yeah,
maybe this is a common popular topic, and I hope it affects a couple other people.
definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. You're definitely helping people sharing your story in here.
Mhm.
So
Yep, not
appreciate it
everybody
a
likes a
lot.
quota.
I love it. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you, Chris. Have a good night. Talk to
All
you
right.
soon.
Yeah. All right. So that's Caroline Maloney. You can follow her on LinkedIn, Caroline Maloney on LinkedIn. She looks just like like she did in the video on LinkedIn. And she does some consulting on the side too. So, I don't know how busy she is with the new job, but if you're in the market for that type of thing, hit her up. As far as this, tune into the podcast next week. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Go to my website, download all the free stuff, and click on how to work with me if you're curious about that. And also you can learn more about the course that I keep talking about as well. But that's it. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to this. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me some comments below. Let me know what you liked or didn't like. Appreciate you. Bye.